Top 10 Scary Disappearances That Remain Unsolved. It's a fact that the worst feeling that can happen to someone is to lose someone they love. But what if one of your family went missing and there aren't any clues to their whereabouts? Meaning, just like a bubble, they suddenly disappeared and never came back? Imagine the agony of their family members praying and still hoping for them to come back, as well as the authorities who tirelessly investigate but couldn't get any lead. In today's video, we'll talk about the top 10 scary disappearances that remain unsolved. But before that, make sure to subscribe and be notified with more interesting videos. Starting with our number 10 is Mayumi Arashi. On the second day of September 1994, the 27-year-old Mayumi Arashi from Sumida, Japan, was supposed to meet a friend but never returned after. To her sister Yoko's worry, she contacted the friend whom she said she will be meeting. To her surprise, her friend said that there was no arrangement for their meeting. Searching for clues, a note was found in Yoko's wardrobe saying that she was going out with A, but was betrayed, then apologizes. At the bottom of the note is the phone number which her sister dialed and spoke with. In their conversation, he confirmed that he had met Mayumi the previous day. He added that if Mayumi will be found dead, he hopes that the punishment would be imprisonment. But Yoko didn't buy his story, so she sought help from a private detective to track his movements for months. Gathered only the information that A was been carrying 2 drinks in the woods on the 9th day of March 1995. The investigation turned up nothing. However, with the interview about Mayumi's disappearance, Mayumi's father shared a piece of paper he had found on the shelf stuck on the wood that read, "Don't believe what Yoko says," which made the viewers feel weird. Well, what's more eerier than to find a chilling note? But despite what happened, there are still no new clues that would link to her location, and until now, Mayumi Arashi remains missing. Number 9 is Boris Weisfeiler. Boris Weisfeiler is a 43-year-old mathematician and professor at the Penn State University who never returned home after his trip in Chile year 1985. Born in such cold place, Weisfeiler decided to take a trip to Chile and hike several trails in the Andes Mountains. But unfortunately, he never made it back, and only his backpack was recovered. Authorities concluded that he had drowned while trying to cross a river. Surprisingly, no human body was ever found in the riverbank. However, his disappearance took a sinister turn. Based on the declassified U.S. documents, Weisfeiler may have been murdered in Chile. It is alleged that the witness saw Weisfeiler at the agricultural commune being interrogated and shot point blank, which led to a new investigation. 8 men were charged with the kidnapping of Weisfeiler, including police and military officers in 2012. However, with lack evidence, the case was closed in 2016, and all of them were freed. Until now, Weisfeiler's body has not been recovered and remains a mystery. Counting on number 8 is the Montessori teacher Hannah Up. Suffering from a rare amnesia that causes anyone who has it forget their own identities called dissociative fugue, Hannah Up disappeared multiple times. Her first disappearance was on August 28, 2008, while she was jogging on the Riverside Drive. Missing for 20 days and was close to death, she was found floating in the New York harbor and rescued by a ferryman. 2 days after, in September 2013, she went missing, and again a week after a strong Hurricane Irma hit the Caribbean. But on the 16th day of September 2017, her car containing clothes and keys were found by the construction workers. Although Hannah's family is still holding their hope, sadly, no sign of Hannah was found and still missing to this day. Before this, Hannah's story was subjected in an A&E series entitled Vanished in Paradise. Number 7 on our list is the interesting story of Patricia Mian. On the 20th day of April 1989, a 37-year-old woman, Patricia Mian, was driving on the wrong side of the road of Montana Highway 200, crashed into another vehicle. An off-duty police dispatcher responded to aid in the incident. After being rescued, Mian walked up to Heights, the driver of the other car, then climbed over a nearby fence and stared again at the scene. After the incident, she was never heard of again. Later, it was revealed that she had been suffering from depression and worked odd jobs at the ranch in Montana before she disappeared. Cooperating with the police, her family posted over 2,000 missing flyers and made use of horses and helicopters to search for Patricia, but despite of their collective effort, Patricia Mian remains missing. Counting down on number 6 are the best friends Patrick Warren and David Spencer. In 1996, during the Boxing Day, the two boys finally returned home after playing with their group of friends in Meriden Park. They have asked permission to their parents to visit Patrick's brother in that evening. Riding off Patrick's new bike he got as a Christmas present, David walked beside him and made it as far as the local gas station. The attendant of the local gas station saw them heading towards a shopping center. However, when another Patrick's brother went looking for them, he learned that they never arrived at their destination. Later on the gas station, Patrick's bike was recovered. To find the boys, their faces were plastered in milk cartons. But it was only in 2003 that a suspect was arrested and later released without being charged. The notorious child killer Brian Field was also a suspect because he had taken lives and violated children in 1968 and held captive 2 teens in 1986. In the hopes that the remains of the boys would be found, they searched the dump waste in 2006 only to find nothing. Until now, Patrick and David remain missing. We made it half on our list. Number 5 is the New Yorker Annie McCarrick. Annie McCarrick went mysteriously missing from Sandymount on the 26th day of March 1993. Before the incident, she had asked a friend to accompany her to the Wicklow Mountains, but her friend declined. The 26th New Yorker was last seen outside a post office in Enniskerry during nighttime between the time of 9 o'clock and 11 p.m. Someone had reported a sighting of her at a pub called Johnny Fox's in Glencullen, talking to a young man who was wearing a wax jacket. The woman who was sighted by someone at the pub was believed to be McCarrick, but nobody saw either McCarrick or her male friend leave the pub. The identity of the man who was believed with her was never recalled. Since it was so dark that night and wet outside, residents are questioning if she would have really walked to Enniskerry, which is 6 kilometers away. After being contacted by their daughter's friends, the worried parents of McCarrick arrived shortly after taking the news of her disappearance. For 6 months, her parents stayed in Ireland, hoping they can locate their daughter, but up until now, no lead was found. McCarrick is still missing. 4th on our list is the scuba diver Ben McDaniel. On August 18, 2010, the 38-year-old Ben McDaniel tried to access the dangerous part of the underwater cave at Vortex Springs. 2 employees of the Vortex Springs saw McDaniel tampering with the gate to get to the cave. One of them decided to let him into the cave to avoid the risk of being stuck in the gate and being drowned. After 2 days, the same employee saw McDaniel's truck where it was parked, indicating he had never returned from diving. To his fear that McDaniel had drowned, he called the police and recovery divers to search all corners where he could possibly be, but all of them failed to find him. With this, his parents came up to offer $30,000 to whoever diver to go further down the cave to retrieve their son. Theories have been raised claiming he might have faked his own death or murdered. However, Ben McDaniel remains missing and the truth behind his disappearance remains unknown. Coming in on our 3rd list is Antoinette Tia Dido. After a hard day of work on the 6th day of April 1986, their mother, Penny Dido, arrived at their apartment in New Mexico. The babysitter left as soon as she got there and found her daughter sleeping sound. Finishing her task around the house, she was up until 3 a.m. She was in deep sleep that she didn't hear the knock on the door. Her eldest daughter, Antoinette, went to the door while her two sisters went back to sleep. When they all woke up, her 9-year-old daughter was missing. She immediately called the police and reported her disappearance. A neighbor reported seeing a brown van outside their house during that night and a man walking towards. Antoinette's sisters claim that it might have been their uncle who knocked on the door, but later ruled out because of the weak evidence. After a whole year of search, they receive a shocking call from a young girl saying she's Antoinette and was held captive for long years in Albuquerque. But before getting the exact information needed, the line went off and they couldn't trace the call. In 1999, her mother, Penny Dido, died without a glimpse of her daughter. Up until now, the case remains open and still searching for Antoinette. Second on our list is Mikkel Biggs. It was one cold morning of January 2, 1999, when Kimber Biggs and her sister Mikkel were impatiently waiting for the ice cream truck to arrive. Mikkel was riding her younger sister's bike when Kimber felt very cold and went inside the house. After 90 seconds, she saw her bike lying on the road with wheels on the front still spinning, but not her sister Mikkel. There were no witnesses nor leads, so the case quickly ran cold. Years passed without a sign of Mikkel, but on the 14th day of March 2018, a reporter claimed to a police officer that a man had handed a dollar bill with writing on it, "My name is Mikkel Biggs. Kidnapped from Mesa. I'm alive." But this didn't convince the family of Mikkel, for the name in the note was misspelled. Her sister Kimber has now her son, and every day she still does pray for her sister to safely come back, but no leads were found until now. Mikkel Biggs remains missing. Whoever pulled that prank on that dollar might be so bored and lonely to make a scene. Our top one for this countdown remains a mystery to investigators and family of the victims. Yes, with the letter S to put an emphasis on the huge number of victims in this place. Our top one for this countdown and the creepiest is the Vanishing Triangle. Found in the eastern island of Ireland, this place became so popular because of the unexplained and sudden disappearances of young women, teens to 40 years old, with no substantial clues or evidence found. It was even aired in the Irish media, subjecting the number of unsolved crime documentaries. One of the popular guesses about this place is that there might be an active serial killer roaming around. Examples of missing women is the 39 years old Ava Brennan, who never made it back to her apartment, 22 years old Imelda Keenan, who was supposed to go to the post office, and the 21 years old Josephine Jojo Dollard, who missed her bus home and never seen again. The police set up an operation to trace the disappearances, but continues to fail to dig substantial clues until now. And this sums up our top 10 scary disappearances that remain unsolved. What are your theories about each cases? Let us know by commenting down below. Who knows, you might help solve the mystery.